If you've ever been outplayed in 2 seconds in Naraka Bladepoint and you're wondering what you're doing wrong, then you need to stick around and watch this video. Hey everyone, it's OSK, and Naraka Bladepoint is a difficult game. Take it from Shroud himself.
I think it's way too hard of a game.
Well, today I hope to change that. In this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 mistakes I see new players make in the Naraka gameplay, and I will go over the mistakes themselves, when they happen, and ways that you can improve so you never make the same mistake twice. I will also have these mistakes timestamped throughout the video, and as always, if you want to get every ounce of advice I can give, say it with me, please watch until the very end of the video so you never miss a single tip. Now with that out of the way, let's get into this. The first mistake I'll just get out of the way really quick. Stop using quick counter in your keybinds. You're going to want to get used to using both of your mouse buttons to counter in Naraka Bladepoint. Quick counter, put very simply, is broken, and not in a good way. There are just certain actions that you cannot do when you use quick counter. You can't spam counter, you can't uppercut counter, and you can't really dash counter either. Compare all these actions when using the regular counter. Now, I know you can't actually see me pressing the mouse buttons, but you can try this in your game right now if you want to, and you'll have the same result. Now, if you're like me and have been using quick counter for a while before you discovered this, it's really easy to break the habit. I myself just spent 5 minutes in free practice simply spamming all the different tech for countering, and if this is not enough for you, I'd recommend jumping into Bloodbath and just keep trying to get it down until you counter left and right. Once you relearn it, you'll be able to counter more effectively in your games. Mistake number 2 that I see way too often is grappling in the middle of combat. Some players will literally be mid-stunned in a combo and will just try to grapple to safety, and it just never works out for them. Oftentimes, I will just touch them with my melee weapon and stun them again, or I'll grapple them myself to stop the escape and then follow up. If you're trying to grapple out of a fight, then you're going to need to be very careful about it. You'll need to put a lot of space between you and your opponent, and you'll really want to try to get out of their line of sight at the very least. Most of the time, what you'll need to do is trust your mechanics and try to get some kind of knockdown or other kind of counterattack going, and then try to escape if you still want to attempt it. Now, one thing I will say is that if you're really dead set on escaping, learning how to scale rush is essential. Scale rushing is done by running onto a wall and charging an attack. Once done, it will shoot you out in the target direction with blue focus, which is especially nice for getting through basic attacks and preventing a stun from the enemy's grapple. So be sure to do that if you really want to run. Our third mistake for today is very simple. Staying in the pocket simply refers to not moving around to try to catch your enemy from a different angle, and also not mixing up your approach in general. Oftentimes, if someone stays in the pocket, they will only try and attack or counter, and they really won't do anything else other than run towards you. Learning how to mix up your movement is essential to fighting at a high level in Naraka because it can completely throw off your opponent's aim, and it can also set up feints like with a dash from a focus attack cancel or even a cheeky uppercut for an aerial combo. This is especially good with weapons like the dagger and the katana, as both have really fast attacks and can really punish someone caught out of position. I'd recommend hopping in free practice to find the range of your weapon and just try dipping in and out among other things to get used to mixing up your movement and staying out of the pocket whenever possible. Following with mistake number 4, not learning or not performing any of the advanced movement tech in Naraka Bladepoint is like shooting yourself in the foot, quite literally. It's painful to watch and you're not going to move very fast. Most players I see will just stick to your basic sprinting with the occasional slide hopping thrown in, but to really up your game, I have 2 techniques you'll want to learn ASAP that will help you start dancing around your competition. The first is focus canceling, and that's where you charge up a focus attack with a weapon, usually a vertical focus attack on most weapons, and then dash out of it. It takes up a bit of stamina, but it does help you move a bit faster with extra protection from the focus attack itself. This can also be used to help with the previous mistake to dart in and out of the pocket to surprise your opponent. And this can also be taken to an extreme degree with the dagger dash ability. Speaking of the dagger, I made a whole video about all the tips and tricks you could hope to know about it, so be sure to check it out. I'll have it linked at the top right of your screen right now. And the second technique is so easy to do, and that is to extend your grapples with a horizontal attack while flying through the air. This lets you get so much extra distance and will even let you survey the battlefield while you're at it if you're skilled enough. So be sure to put both of these techniques to good use and start moving. The 5th mistake I see a lot of is spamming abilities, and this will be a very short one. Mainly what I'm referring to is constantly just trying to hit your enemies with the 1-2-3 combo over and over and over again, and also just trying to rely on the same techniques over and over and over again multiple times in a single fight to get your sweet victory. Sure, it may work in the lower elos, but against the tougher competition of Naraka Bladepoint, you're going to get put on your butt and stabbed out of existence. You'll really want to mix up your abilities and go for stuff out of the box. And this segues perfectly into mistake number 6, not utilizing uppercut combos or knockdown combos in general. So many new players I have run into simply do not understand the power of a simple uppercut. Knockups and knockdowns are both very important aspects of Naraka, to the point where I always actively try to land one or the other, and the easy way to do this is to go for an uppercut. Uppercuts are performed by crouching and then using a vertical attack, and while they don't do too much damage on their own, their real potential is in aerial combos and following the opponent's landing with a tech chase once they're on the ground. If you've ever watched my previous videos, then you would know I love to show these off so much. They're especially important for the dagger and the spear, as both of these weapons have insane combo potential with aerial opponents, so definitely do not miss out on sending your opponents to the moon. And while you're at it, why not help send me and this channel to the moon by liking the video and subscribing so you never miss new Naraka content. Maybe we'll even go higher than old Jeffrey in a space shuttle. But anyway, definitely make sure you master uppercut combos and knockdowns and tech chases so you always can stay on top of the competition and keep them guessing. The 7th mistake that I see a lot of newer players make, and even myself included, especially if you watch my weekend stream, and that mistake is charging headlong into fights, especially 1v1s. I know, combat in this game is so very fun and exhilarating, and dunking on your opponents is so satisfying. But if the goal is to win the game, then this is the opposite of what you want to do. Partaking in a straight 1v1 matchup is a good way to get third-partied, and even if that's not a factor, one wrong move could spell doom against the wrong opponent. What I've gathered from watching a lot of veterans is that doing what I call staying on the outside is a lot more consistent and will do well to prevent you from being the focus of everyone's damage. It's like playing monkey in the middle. You never want to be the monkey, so don't get aped down, play it smart, and stay on the outside so you'll come out on top more often. And hey, at the end of the day, if all you want to do is just smork and fight all the time, there's a game mode called Bloodbath, and I think you'll like it very much. Alright, this next one I'll try to keep short as we get into mistake number 8. Using the wrong Souljades is not the biggest deal in the world, but in a close fight, it can definitely cost you that extra bit of health to outlast your opponent. Typically for Souljades, you'll want to prioritize either melee resist or your health for defensive stats. You can never go wrong with those two kinds of Souljades, as they're very safe to use. You can also go for attack, but I'd only recommend it if you find a lot and are confident in your combat abilities. But now the big takeaway is knowing what Souljades benefit you in each situation. Taking a musket Souljade when you're wielding a bow, not the best choice, but taking a Souljade that increases the amount of healing you get from Vitalia and Armor Powder, now we're talking. So just be mindful of the Souljades you choose and make sure that they make sense for your current loadout and situation. You can find every Souljade in those little crates in the free practice tool, so be sure that you get in there if you don't know what Souljades to pick and start theory crafting for potential builds you might want to use in the real game. Mistake number 9 is a bit technical, but using the shop incorrectly is so easy to do, and it's something that I think a lot of players don't quite focus on too much. The shop is a great tool to really kickstart your match and set you on the path to victory with your wallet. Whether you're coming off a fresh bounty kill or you found a hidden stash, knowing how to use that new income is just as important as getting it in the first place. The typical ordering I like to follow when using the shop is as follows: a Souljade bag upgrade, item storage upgrade, weapon bag upgrade, and then just spamming random Souljades until I get something I like, which actually circles back to our previous tips. My way of thinking about it is I want to improve my combat ability, and then my utilities, then my arsenal of weapons. Now, if you're really ahead and have, say, 10,000 Dark Tide coins just laying around, I'd recommend actually purchasing a Bane Breath tag and going for a free Morris Blessing chest for extra goodies, but that's just me. You could just as easily buy 10 armor powders, it's really up to you, but make sure you upgrade the essentials if you can. Now, our 10th and final mistake is simply just using characters wrong, or I guess inefficiently is a better way to put it. Whether it's a random Tian Hai Bell or a panic stun from a Viper Ning, you have no idea how many players I run into that just do not know how to truly utilize the kits of some of the characters they play as. And it's really just a simple fix, or rather, a couple of fixes. Things like learning how to effectively use abilities and ults can be fixed by simply watching YouTube guides and player streams. And in fact, if you're really looking to learn Yodohime, for example, I have a character guide on that, so be sure to check that out. but really just taking the time to visualize in what scenario every ability should be used goes a very long way. If you're Yodo, do you use your basic ability to stun enemies and try to escape, or do you use it in a scenario to try and land a come from behind combo into a kill? It's things like that where visualization can really come in handy, and if you're having trouble putting it into practice, which I do recommend, always practice your combos and your characters. There's always Bloodbath if you're looking for that 1v1 experience or just general chaos. I'd really recommend jumping into Bloodbath if you need that extra time and the extra repetition to get down your characters in an effective way. But that's going to do it for the video. Let me know what your favorite mistake I covered was in the comments down below, and I'll just leave you all with this. A lot of mistakes can be fixed by two things: actively thinking about the game and not autopiloting, and just practicing new things in free practice. I know it's rather simplistic of an approach, but every top player you see has been in your shoes before, and these two things are what has made the meta what it is today. As always, if you enjoyed the video and learned something today, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Naraka content. But now, I gotta go play some more Naraka. I've been OSK, y'all have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.